Survival on Earth depends on one fragile web, the food chain. From tiny plants to mighty predators, each link supports the next. But when this chain weakens, hunger arrives faster than anyone expects. Like a silent predator, it strikes without warning. First, small cracks appear. Fewer insects, weaker crops, emptier seas. Yet these are not small problems. They are alarms of collapse. In survival, the first rule is to notice signs early. When the food chain falls, those who ignore the warnings will face hunger first. This is not just nature's problem. It is a survival test for every human being. In survival, the smallest loss can create the biggest danger. The same happens with the food chain. Bees vanish and plants stop producing. Fish disappear and the ocean grows silent. These are the first breaks in the web of life. The danger feels slow, but survival experts know it is already too late once the signs show. One missing link leads to another, like dominoes falling. Soon, every living thing feels the chain's weakness. In survival, balance is everything. Without balance, nature does not forgive. The first breaks are enough to turn a safe world into a hungry one. Plants are the foundation of life. They give food, oxygen, and hope. But survival becomes impossible when plants stop producing. Without pollinators, crops fail. Without healthy soil, roots die. Survivalists know, once plants vanish, the chain is broken at its start. Grass for cows, leaves for insects, fruits for humans, all gone. The first rule of wilderness survival is to secure food. But in a collapsing food chain, even survival experts would struggle. The hunger begins with the silence of fields. When plants die, survival becomes harder than anyone imagines. The first link of life is lost, and hunger spreads. In survival, even the smallest creatures matter. Insects pollinate, recycle, and feed countless animals. Without them, the survival of bigger species fails. Birds starve, frogs vanish, and soil loses strength. Insects may look weak, but they are survival machines of the earth. When they collapse, the chain of survival breaks. Imagine forests without buzzing, rivers without frogs, skies without birds. A survivalist knows silence in nature means danger. Without insects, balance is gone and hunger speeds up. The collapse of insects is not just their death. It is the start of a chain reaction that threatens everyone's survival adds. Oceans are survival's greatest pantry, feeding billions. But survival ends when plankton and small fish disappear. Without them, larger fish die, and with them, human plates grow empty. Fishing boats return with nothing, and coastal villages face hunger first. In survival, water is life, but water without food is despair. The silence of the ocean is deadly. No splashes, no schools of fish, only emptiness. Hunger spreads across nations because oceans once gave a third of humanity's protein. A survivalist watching this collapse would know the ocean's silence is not nature resting, it is nature dying. And hunger grows. Predators are survival's balance keepers. Wolves control deer, lions balance herds, eagles manage rodents. But when prey vanish, predators face starvation. At first, they hunt closer to human lands. This creates fear and danger, but even these hunters cannot survive for long. In survival, no predator can live without prey. When top hunters die, the natural balance falls apart. Rodents multiply, pests destroy crops, and disease spreads. The collapse of predators means chaos everywhere. For humans, this is another survival threat. Because when balance is gone, hunger spreads even faster, and nature's laws turn against every living thing. Humans trust supermarkets and farms, but survivalists know the truth. All food comes from the same chain. Once insects, plants, and animals fail, human shelves empty. Survival becomes real. Bread, rice, milk, and meat all depend on the chain. The collapse is fast. Markets run dry and prices rise like fire. Survival turns into panic buying and empty stores. Even the strongest nations cannot escape, because survival does not care about wealth. It only cares about balance. The moment the chain snaps, humans enter true survival mode, searching, struggling, and learning too late that they depended on nature's web. In survival, food is power. Without it, fear spreads. As supplies shrink, families fight for bread, villages guard their crops, and nations hoard what little remains. Hunger does not arrive slowly. It strikes like lightning. Survival becomes a daily battle. Some try to grow food quickly, but without insects and balance, fields fail. Others try to fish, but nets return empty. Survival experts know hunger makes people desperate, and desperation creates conflict. The collapse of the food chain turns the world into a battleground for survival. The fight is not against nature alone, but against each other. Cities are survival traps. They rely on food traveling from far away. Once the chain collapses, deliveries stop and hunger arrives quickly. Markets close, restaurants vanish, and long lines form for scraps of bread. In survival, the rule is simple. Cities are the first to fall. People rush to villages, but even there, food is scarce. The collapse spreads like fire, faster than anyone can move. Survival in a city becomes impossible without food. Silence takes over streets once filled with life. In the end, hunger proves stronger than concrete and glass. Cities fall and survival slips away. Farms, the heart of human survival, also fall victim. Crops fail without pollinators, livestock weaken without grass, and soil loses power without insects. Farmers work harder, but harvests shrink. Barns echo with silence, and fields grow empty. In survival, food must be renewed, but the chain collapse stops this cycle. People once thought farms were safe, but farms are only strong when the chain is alive. Once broken, survival cannot come from farms alone. Hunger grows where food once flourished. The failure of farms shows the truth. Survival is not about control. It is about harmony with the chain. When hunger spreads, fear grows faster. Survival becomes more than finding food. It becomes protecting it. People hoard supplies, fight in markets, and lose trust in each other. In survival, fear is as dangerous as hunger. Once fear spreads, safety disappears. Even those with food suffer, because survival is no longer about eating, but about defending. Governments struggle to calm people, but panic is stronger. Fear is another form of hunger. It eats away at peace, hope, and trust. Survivalists know, in collapse, fear destroys faster than hunger. And once fear rules, true survival is almost impossible. Survival depends not only on food, but also on water. Without healthy chains, rivers dry, lakes shrink, and oceans grow toxic. Fish vanish and farms cannot grow without clean water. In survival, the second rule is no water, no life. Hunger and thirst join together. People fight for both food and water. Diseases spread through dirty streams. Without forests, rains weaken, and survival becomes even harder. In the collapse, the water that once gave life now brings struggle. Hunger is cruel, but thirst is faster. The chain's fall shows that water and food are one survival bond. In survival, no one stands alone. The food chain collapse proves this. When one country suffers drought, others lose grain. When oceans fail, millions lose fish worldwide. Global trade breaks down. Survival becomes a global test. Nations close borders, protect supplies, and leave others hungry. But hunger respects no border. It spreads like fire. Ships that once carried food bring nothing. Airplanes carry empty cargo. The world learns that survival is not about one nation. It is about all. Without the chain, the entire planet is in danger. Hunger becomes global, and no one escapes its reach. In survival, the weakest suffer first. Children lose strength, elders grow weaker, and the poor have no chance to fight hunger. Survival is never fair, and hunger shows this. Stronger people may survive longer, but the weakest links of society break quickly. Their suffering is a warning. If the chain is not saved, no one survives. Hunger begins at the edges, but it moves to the center fast. In survival, ignoring the weakest means losing the future. The collapse proves that protecting the weakest is protecting the whole. Their fall shows the truth of survival's hardest lesson. Before collapse, food meant choices. Survival was not a thought because plates were full of options. But as the chain weakens, meals become simple, poor, and small. Rice without meat, bread without fruit, water without milk. In survival, choice disappears quickly. People eat what they find, not what they want. Children cry for food their parents cannot give. Survival becomes about filling the stomach, not enjoying the meal. Hunger strips away comfort and joy. A meal that once meant family now means survival. The chain's fall takes not only food, but also the meaning of sharing and life itself. A survivalist knows hunger weakens the body and sickness follows. Without good food, immune systems fail. Without balance, new diseases rise. Pests spread because insects that controlled them are gone. Animals move closer to humans, carrying sickness. In survival, health is as important as food. But when hunger spreads, bodies lose strength, and diseases become deadlier. A hungry world is also a sick world. The collapse is no longer only about finding food. It becomes about surviving disease. Hunger and sickness form a deadly pair. In survival, once health is lost, the fight grows nearly impossible. In survival, desperation is the most dangerous stage. People eat wild plants, unsafe animals, and spoiled food. Forests are stripped bare, rivers emptied of life. But desperation does not save, it only speeds collapse. The last fish is taken, the last fruit eaten, and nothing left to grow again. In survival, the rule is to take only what can renew. But humans, desperate with hunger, forget this. The chain snaps completely. Desperation replaces balance and hunger grows worse. The survival instinct becomes a weapon against nature itself, pushing the world deeper into collapse. Desperation is hunger's final shadow. Survival depends on balance. Every insect, plant, and animal had its role. But when the chain collapses, balance vanishes. Pests destroy fields, rodents overrun homes, and soil dies without renewal. The world feels hostile, unsafe, and empty. In survival, balance is everything. Without it, even the strongest cannot last. Hunger spreads because the balance that created food is gone. The world becomes unstable, and every step feels like a fight against nature itself. A world without balance is a world without survival. The chain's collapse is not just about food, it is about the loss of harmony with life. At last, humans realize the truth. Survival was never guaranteed. Every loaf of bread, every drop of milk, every piece of meat came from the chain. Without it, humans are just another species struggling for life. The collapse teaches a harsh survival lesson. Humans cannot live apart from nature. The awakening comes too late for many, but it carries meaning. If survival is to continue, the chain must be rebuilt. Insects, plants, animals, oceans, all must live or none will. Hunger shows its cruelest truth. Without the chain, humanity has no chance. The awakening is heavy, but it is real. The collapse of food chains is the greatest survival test. Hunger spreads fast and no one is safe. But survival also teaches hope is possible if balance is restored. Protecting bees, saving forests, cleaning oceans. These actions rebuild the chain. The story of collapse can end in disaster, or it can become a warning that saves the future. In survival, lessons are written in struggle. The lesson here is clear. Humanity's survival depends on nature's web. The food chain is not just a system, it is life itself. Protect the chain and survival continues. Break it and hunger wins.